So welcome everyone to the BQH info session with me. I'm Rachel Chase and I'm a BQH practitioner. What is that? So in this little webinar info session, I'll talk about generally my practice with BQH, what it is from my point of view, some experiences that I've had with it, what I love about it, what clients have loved about it. I'll answer the questions that you sent that I got from some of you, and then I'll open it up for a little discussion with those of you who are here with me live and lead you through a kind of a little practice that is indicative of what you might experience in part of the session with me. So just some logistics first. Logistically speaking, the way that I do these sessions is virtually. So we do them through Zoom, or we can do them with just phone earbuds, or here are the ones that you would probably want to use. The thing about using earbuds when you're doing a virtual hypnosis session is, especially with BQH or a quantum healing journey like this, you're going to be, it's a long session, so you'll have the earbuds in your ears for a really long time, and sometimes that can be uncomfortable. And also, it's really important that I hear you and you hear me, and the sessions are recorded and you're given the recording, and I'll explain more about that too. But this kind of thing is really good with the headphones that cover the ears and then the little microphone piece. That way it's just comfortable, you're lying down, and when you speak I can hear you, because a lot of times when you're in the deeply meditative state like that, or hypnotic state, if you will, you speak very quietly, and so I need to be able to hear you. This is not a passive session where I'm guiding you to a specific place. So let me explain a little bit more about that. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But so as far as logistics goes, yes, we do these all virtual, these sessions. BQH stands for Beyond Quantum Healing. Why beyond? Well, because this is a method developed by Candace Craw-Goldman, who was a longtime student of Dolores Cannon. And you may or may not have heard of Dolores Cannon, but Dolores Cannon developed over many years, decades, the quantum healing hypnosis technique. And for a long time it was not called that, and eventually was given that name. QHHT is a very specific method with a very specific set of scripts that you use. Now, I've been trained in QHHT as well, although posthumously, Dolores Cannon passed many years ago, and so I did her training after she passed through, her daughter now runs that organization, QHHT organization. But the QHHT method is very strictly only done in person. And so now what BQH does is it kind of takes, really it's not the QHHT method exactly. It has some similarities, much like it has similarities with any past life regression or hypnosis technique. So the thing about my method with BQH is that it's not just a hypnosis session. This is a session where the intention is very much about whatever questions you have that you would like guidance, support, or healing around from your own higher self, or from your own inner self, from your own superconscious self, right? The part of you that has all the answers, and the part of you that's also connected with the other side of the veil. And if you're not familiar with the concept of this veil, the veil is an idea, a metaphor, or perhaps even a description of the energy that sort of keeps our conscious awareness separate from altered states or other states of consciousness or super conscious states or astral projection states of consciousness. You can think of it that way. The veil is kind of like this idea that there's a separation between our ego mind and the part of ourselves that is completely connected with infinite energy, where we could be very much in contact with our guides, our guidance system in a deeper way, or even have greater access to those parts of our DNA and cellular activity that has not yet been awakened or come online yet, right? They talk about all these parts of our DNA in science that don't even do anything, right? So we're talking about this idea that you can connect more fully with the aspects of yourself that are waiting to be activated in service to your healing, your well-being in this lifetime, right? Because whatever you're going through now is what you'll be sort of bringing to the table, right? Whenever we get a healing session at any time in our lives, it's that healing, that information, that depth work is really having an encounter with who we are now. The change that we're going through, the evolution that we're going through, the awakening that we're going through really happens in the now moment. If you think back to times in your life when you were really seeking for information and knowledge and you got it. And now you're not really seeking that information and knowledge anymore, but now you're in a different place. And now there's another level, and now there's another level, and then there's another level, and another level, and another level. So that is to say that whatever is transpiring in the session is to serve your highest and best at this point in time in your life to take you to that next level. And this can happen in a big, major way. This can happen in a slow, steady way. It's different for every person. Okay, so let me back up a little bit just to kind of break down what to expect with a session and the actual sessions themselves. So you may have read the description already before coming to this webinar that the sessions approximate about 4 to 5 hours with me usually, unless you're someone who's been working with me for a long time. We've already got rapport, we've already been doing coaching sessions or Reiki sessions together, and I've got your background, we know what you're working on, and then we can kind of just jump right in which case it's usually only about maybe 3 to 3.5 hours. That shaves about an hour off. Why? Because for new clients, what we do, and really this is for anyone who does the BQH session, the first part is the same. The first part is for you, and for me this is the super exciting part. I love this part of it because this is the part that starts the process. Even this part you're doing on your own, okay? But this is where you're already starting to make contact with those parts of yourself that are just waiting to come in to help you, or come online, or grow, or connect more deeply with what it is you're trying to accomplish for yourself. So that is to make a list. You're making a list of all of those things that, let's say you were sitting at a table with somebody who has everything that you need for your healing, for your knowledge, for support, guidance, all of the above. They've got it all for you. What is it that you would like to get? On my little table here, it's shaking. So the question is, what do you need? What are you working on right now? What is it that you want to heal in this moment in your life? It can be physical, it could be mental, it can be emotional, it can be spiritual. Are there answers you're seeking about the future even, or now? The future's a little funny because sometimes, it's not like, well, what's going to happen exactly, but it's more like, what is it I need to know in order to blah, 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 blah. Here's my goals. Can you give me some guidance around what I need to do for my goals? Because that's the thing about the future, right? It's all about potentialities. Your higher self isn't going to say, well, in 2035, this is exactly where you're going to be and exactly what you're going to be doing. It's not quite that simple. It's more like, what is it that you're envisioning, and how can you get the support for your highest and best for that envisioning? A lot of things that people come into session for have to do with the past in this lifetime, have to do with, excuse me, their family life growing up, or just getting some answers around some of the relationships with their family in general, any members of their family. Also getting healing around some of the traumas that came up. And, you know, a lot of hypnotherapists and hypnotists don't necessarily deal with trauma. But since I'm a trauma-informed yoga teacher, and I've studied Master of Mental Health Counseling and done a lot of trauma work, and that's really one of my specialties when it comes to coaching and working with people on a therapeutic level, is we do a lot of trauma work together. So sometimes when a person wants to really work on some trauma, I'll say, well, let's do some trauma work first, and then let's do the BQH session, you know. Or we can kind of work on it on a certain level and layer during the BQH, but then afterwards we'll do another consultation and do some more processing of the trauma, because really essentially it lives in your body. That's another discussion on trauma in the body. But like I said, excuse me, a lot of people come in with questions about their past. And then there's what am I working on right now? You know, your soul journey, your emotional stuff, your self-development work, and, you know, just healing some heavy burdens. Or maybe there's thought processes that have been going on that you'd like to really switch and clear and change and overcome. You know, that's a big one, that people want to overcome a pattern of thinking or belief or behavior, or something, an addiction pattern even, or even just patterns. Like for me, one of my things that I was working on for a while there, and I'm still working on it, is chronic pain. And it's much better now, but I received a ton of guidance around working with chronic pain when I received a quantum healing session last year. Got a couple of them done last year. And some of the guidance that came through, I mean, it was just very clear what I needed to do. And so then it was up to me to do it, you know. But also I received a lot of energetic information from my guides. And since I'm a Reiki master and I work in the energy field, there was a lot of information coming through to support my work. So for a lot of you who are healers or supporters or helpers or counselors or therapists, or, you know, what tends to happen is the information, guidance, support, and energy that comes through really supports your ability to do your work even better. So yes, some amazing stories about physical healing too. Just really beautiful things that have happened with people where if it's their time for that to be cleared, it's cleared. And if it's not, then it's understood why, you know. So that's the list of things, okay? You can ask it in question form. You could say, here's what I'd like information about. Here's what I'd like healing around. And you can just kind of brain dump it, you know? Just start writing that list. And over the course of a couple weeks, usually I'll tell people to, you know, make their appointment a little ways out so that they have a little bit of time to sit with these questions and really get their list honed in on. And a lot of times what happens is sometimes those answers come before the session, and then they don't even have as many questions as they would have originally. But you can have as many questions as you want. Then when we do the actual session together, here's the thing: you want to be physically, you know, ready for your session, rested. You don't want to be too tired because you don't want to fall asleep. This isn't about going unconscious. And I'll explain that state of mind that you're in when you're in this zone. I call it being in the zone. But you bring your questions into the session. And for the first part of the session, we're getting to know each other and we're talking about your questions. We're getting to understand more about those questions. And I'll ask you some questions about your questions so that I really understand where you're coming from and what you really want to know. Because my job is to be your ally. You'll see what I mean when I get to the part of when we're kind of in the zone, because I'm here to assist you in the most detailed way on what is it your true intentions are behind those questions, of what is it that you're really wanting to receive on that deeper level, on the real level. And I help you really clarify if you're feeling a little foggy about some of your questions. And we take time. We take our time and we just go through them. So that's a part of the beginning of the session. Another very big part of the beginning of the session is I take us through a very sacred ceremony. And I bring in the light for us, surround us in a field of protection. And we call in only the highest and best, and those guides and ancestors and your higher self and my guides and ancestors and higher self that are only here to support the highest and best for you and the goodwill of all. And that is a powerful declaration. We are so powerful when we use our words in this way. So I will have a very sacred space set for us, much like I have here right now. I've got a nice little candle lit for us. It's orange, which is about creativity. And I've got some stones around, very grounding. Malachite here and labradorite here. And you might want to do the same thing. Set your sacred space for the ceremony, because it really is a sacred ceremony. And that, I played a song before the recording. For those of you live, you heard it, but it's a song by Mirabai Siba, and I can spell that for you later and give you the information. And the song is called 100 Blessings. And it's by, the words are by Rumi, the poet Rumi, and not just a poet, but the mystic, the prophet, the beautiful Rumi being that he was. His words speak about when love taps on your window, run and let it in. Do not hesitate, because even the slightest rational kind of second guessing of it chases it away. And this is really part of a message for all of us in this process too, because here's the thing about this state of mind, this, we call it a brainwave state that we get into. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, just a little ahead of myself, but why we set the sacred space in the beginning. And I'm going to kind of get into the brainwave states in a second, because I want to go through the order of operations of the ceremony. I really consider this session a ceremony for you to connect with those parts of self that are always there, but we're so busy in life. We never spend time in that in-between state where we're just really immersed in the connection of that guidance that's just right there, of the energy that's right there, that is just waiting for us to get really still and lean back so we can come through. So we have our sacred space, we go through our questions, and then we take your questions, and you and I, in session, create a statement. It's your statement. This is going to be your intention statement that sort of summarizes all your questions. And I help you write it. We kind of write it together. How it's different for everybody. Some people are like, I've got it, and they write it really fast, and other people are like, why don't you try it, and then we'll do it. So it's a collaboration. There's no rush. There's never a rush. We don't rush. We go at a nice pace. We do what we need to do. And you want to have water with you. I always want to have some water with you. So if you're familiar with Dr. Emoto's work, this is why we use water. We're all water, right? We're made of water. I'm water, you're water. The whole earth is water. We're all connected through water. This is a water planet. We are water beings. Water is our transmitter and receiver of energy. This is how we communicate with everyone and everywhere, is through water. Our blood is water, right? We drink water, we excrete water. Water is water is life. So when we use our words intentionally and our energy intentionally, we can program that water with that vibration and that energy of what we're putting into it for your intention, for your healing, for this session. So after we've written your intention, I take us through a very sacred water alchemy ceremony, and you're holding your water and I'm holding my water, and we're placing energy into the water, and I take us through a whole light visualization, energy connection. And we say your intention. You say your intention. I say it, and then you say it. You repeat after me. Your eyes are closed, and I'm reading your intention. You've also written it down. And the power of those words is amazing, because then you'll always have that intention statement that comes through from this session. It's very guided. It's very aligned. It's just the perfect thing, exactly what needs to be said. We program our water. We bring the energy into it, and then we both drink it. And this is a very sacred, kind of secret part of this process in a way. We don't really talk a lot about this process because it's so sacred. It has to be done with the purest of intention, because the vibration that you're putting into the water is just, it has to be focused, really focused. So I'm just going to say to my water right now, I'm just going to say, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm just bringing my heart energy into my water, and I'm going to give it a little sip. Just tune in with that. I love you energy in my body. And send it to you. All right. So everything I'm kind of doing on this call is not necessarily fully planned. Oh, somebody's waiting to come in. Uh-oh. Let's see. I've got my waiting room thing on. Sorry, Paige. I need to turn the waiting room off. I didn't realize you had been dropped off the call. You will get the replays for whatever you missed. I'm so sorry. I'm turning the waiting room off, so that way you can be sure to get right back in if you end up being dropped off the call. So sorry about that. So we're just talking about how this is a sacred ceremony. When you come in, you have your questions. We talk about your questions. We get real clear on your questions. And then we create your intention statement. And then we do the water ceremony with your intention statement. And we place the intention into the water and drink the water. And this is all done in its own time. However long that takes is perfectly perfect. Then we take a break. Because now we have really prepared, and we have connected, and we have brought in the guides, and they're usually already doing the work. There's wisdom already coming through. And then you lie down, and I guide you into a very relaxed state, and my voice gets a little slower, calmer, and I bring you into that peaceful, gentle place. And for some people, it takes a little longer to get there, and others not as long. That's okay. It's about being relaxed. We want you to get as relaxed as possible. And we just let go of all expectations and allow the journey to be what it is. Because the journey is being guided by your higher self. Now, I bring you into the relaxed state, and I guide you through a kind of like a portal, if you will. It's a little different every time, the journey. But then once you go through that portal, it's up to you to report to me what you see, or hear or taste or smell or whatever you're experiencing in your emotional state. And I just ask you questions to kind of help nudge you to imagine, to let go of the process of trying to figure it out and let it come. So here's the thing about being in that state. The experience can be like watching a movie, or it can be like a dream, or it can be like a story you feel like you're sort of making up and your imagination starts to take it. Our imagination is the portal through which our higher self communicates with us. You know, we have been conditioned in our culture to say, oh, you're just making it up. It's just in your imagination. The imagination is just as real as this reality. It's just a different kind of real. In fact, some people, after doing this work for a while, start to understand that it's maybe even more real than this, and maybe this is the dream. I don't know. Maybe it's all dreams. If you think about certain indigenous cultures, and they talk about their dreams with each other to understand themselves better. They talk about how, you know, the dream life shows them their connection with everything. When they come back into this life, they forget. So we're making a deeper connection with the truths that want to be shown to you. And you'll usually go through about 3 or 4 of the places or lifetimes or experiences. For some people, it's very obviously like a previous lifetime. They went here, they went there, they did this, they did that. For other people, it's more like a feeling sense, and they go through different dimensional sensations before they find themselves somewhere, and then there's colors, and then it kind of changes. For other people, it's like these metaphors and start to come through. It's really different for each person because everyone's imagination is different. The way that we express it is going to be different. So you might fiddle around with words, and at first it might feel a little clunky, like, am I doing this right? But here's the thing, you've got this rational everyday mind, right? And then you have this part of your mind that can really connect in with that space. And unless you're using this part of your mind regularly through stories or music or art or creativity, or you're just very open-minded and you meditate a lot, if you're not doing any of that stuff, you might be stuck over here in a very rigid mindset, like this isn't real, I can't do this. And that's okay if you're over here. It just means we need to do some practicing for you. Before the session, I'll send you some videos and we'll talk a little bit. And, you know, one little exercise I like to do with people. So what I want you to do, just humor me. We're just going to do a little exercise. I'm not going to hypnotize you or anything. I just want you to close your eyes and think about a blue car. Just a blue car. So there's a blue car, and I want you to imagine, where's the blue car, and is it driving or is it stationary? And then does it go down a road, or is it daytime or nighttime? And just kind of see what happens next. Make a little story in your mind about the blue car. Goes down the road, then it goes around the corner, then maybe are you in the car? Are you watching the car from above or below or beside it? Are there people? How many people are there? Where's it going? Does it go to a store? Does it go to a place? Where does it go? I wouldn't say store in here. That's a little suggestive. I wouldn't do that in the session. I don't do suggesting. I ask questions. So find out. I want you to ask yourself some questions right now. I'm going to say, where does it go next? And then, what do you see there? And then if we were having a conversation and you would say what you see there, then I would say, well, tell me more about that. Are there any people there, or is there anything going on over there where the blue car went? And then you kind of just see if you can kind of make up a story, you know? And that's a way to exercise that part of your mind. So when you're in the state, you know, they say, okay, well, this is where it's the theta brainwave state, right? We've got beta, alpha, theta, gamma, all these different brainwave states. You've got the awake, very awake and aware. You're active. Then you have the state where you're kind of like focusing on something and you're just sort of really in on that. And you've got the I'm meditating and I'm relaxed. And then you have the in between sort of sleep awake, and then you have unconscious asleep, right? So the in between sleep and awake is sort of where we're going with what we call the hypnosis state. You're not unconscious. A lot of people think, oh, hypnosis means you knock me out and then you say things and I believe them and you change my mind and make me stop smoking and those kinds of things. So you may have heard this too. You know, hypnotherapists and hypnotists will say, oh, I see. Arun is having problems with the, okay, no problem. All right. Somebody in our meeting here is having some network problems with their computer. So if you have to watch the replay, no problem. We'll see ya. We can talk later more. But I want to make sure that I address her questions too if she ends up getting dropped off the call here. So that in-between state, you know, and sometimes when you're in it, when clients are in the actual, we call it the regression. Okay, this is the regression part where you've been you're relaxed, you're going on your journey, you're in the zone, you're going through the lifetimes, I'm asking you questions, you're answering me, we're getting information. Sometimes the conscious mind will kind of peak up and you'll kind of start to wake up a little, go, wait a minute, and then we'll just relax again and go back. And the idea is, and what I really help people with a lot in these sessions is to assist you in kind of imagining, like I said before, that you're leaning back. That you're leaning back and you're just allowing that part of yourself to come forward. That aspect of being that is your essence, that is your part of your consciousness that can just go into the portals of expanded reality and look around and see what's out there and be open to what comes. And that's just an experience that you'll have when you're in it. You may not be able to conceptualize it unless you've already had this type of experience before. And that's okay. A lot of my clients, this is first time stuff for them. But everybody gets answers to those questions. So after we do the journey through the 3, I do this because usually it's about 3 or 4 different places we go. Then we bring in your higher self. And we ask your higher self questions. And your higher self is there in your mind. You might actually see a version or a guide that comes to answer your questions that represents your higher self, or it just might be the voice that speaks through you. Usually it's the voice that speaks through people, but it's always, hey, again, it's different for everybody. I don't want to plant too many seeds of what to expect because it's always different. There's all kinds of, I mean, you can never predict what's going to happen. You just can't. It's like saying, I'm going to go to another country I've never been to before, and now I'm going to predict what's going to happen. You can't. You don't know. You've never been there before. Although some of these places might feel familiar, which is the idea anyways, because it should feel familiar. There's a familiarity, there's a connection between the place and you that's a part of you. Then we talk with your higher self. We ask your higher self questions about why you were shown these realities and experiences, how they pertain to your questions, and we make sure that all of your questions are answered and you get a full energy healing in there too. A full on, we go into the temple of healing in your mind, in the field. There's a temple of healing that we can all go to, where your guides are, where your energy allies are, where the healing energy is, and you receive what you need. And it's powerful, it's amazing. And a lot of people remember parts and pieces of the session or not all of it, or they say, I remember everything. And then there's always going to be a little something that they don't, or, you know, they'll remember bits and pieces and then they go back and listen and go, oh yeah, this and this and this. So The reason why we record it, it's so important for you to receive the recording and then listen to it, give it some time after the session, because you really want to integrate and process what you've experienced. And then you go back and listen to it within a week or two and see what comes through. And a lot of people, that's good enough and that's fine and that's all they need and they got what they needed. And but some people want to come back and do kind of like a follow-up little mini session with me just to process some of the things. And so I'm always happy to do that. It's not necessarily part of the price of the session, because I mean, right now the BQH session is only $300, and that's really not much for a 5-hour session, plus all that preparation work and support. So usually the full price is going to be $400 after this summer. It's going to go up probably end of September, beginning of October, but I just know people are tight on funds right now. and I know 300 isn't dirt cheap for a healing session, but for something like this, it's really, really, really worth it. It's an incredible experience. So I want to answer Aruna's questions. Kindly provide a little more insight into how it can help clearing mental blocks, changing belief systems of oneself. So here's the thing about, yes, the whole session is about getting in touch with your inner consciousness and not just leaving the session afterwards and having a separation. My goal is to help you integrate. The intention of this process is not to go off somewhere, get something, and then leave it and go back to life without having made an integrative connection. This is about integrating higher self and everyday self. You could think of it as ego and higher self, or your daily you with your inner you, having a real alliance with your inner self. Like even right now, I'm having a kind of behind the scenes mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic conversation with the aspect of me that is in tune with spirit, right? So when I go into setting an intention, when I go into a session like this, I always set the intention to be guided and to be connected. So rather than, continuing on with life as it were before the session, the idea is that you're going to have a shift. So whatever those belief systems, whatever those thought processes, whatever was going on, you've really kind of gotten a handle on it. And that with the deeper inner wisdom self can come through, and you can have that experience of what it's like to be that, because truly that is you. It's just something to grow into. So for, however far along you are on your spiritual growth development process, this practice, this healing session, this modality will meet you there, okay? And then it's up to you to take that guidance and do the work, It's not a magic pill. It's not a bing, and now suddenly I'm a different person. No, you're still evolving and growing, but now you've got these superpowers that are coming online. You've got all these tools that you've received. You've got all this guidance you've received and all this energy you've received. Just thinking about a session I did recently where they did all this rewiring work without going into the explanation of how that all went down for her. It was amazing. And what has happened since then is I have seen this person, all the goals that she came in with, she was really struggling. And now the level of confidence and assuredness and trust and go through them and get it done is what was going on for her. There were things that she just needed to get done and carry out, regardless of external circumstances or the fears and the doubts and the worries that were coming in. And so her ability now to just trust that, essentially if she just follows her passion, really for her, that's really what it was. It was the nugget of it was, is it okay if I follow my passion? And those are not her words, so I'm not quoting her, but I'm just kind of summarizing the themes, because a lot of times people have those fears that if they do that, then they're not going to be supported. So the bottom line with that session was, when she cleared that through this session, she's gangbusters. Another client is also an artist, a musician. She just wanted to really clear all these blocks and be able to get going with this next creative part of her life, really going into the third chapter of her life after, and still having kind of some unresolved stuff that had been coming up that kind of was just getting in her way, and moving that out of the way through the session too. I mean, I'm oversimplifying these sessions because there's a lot that goes on, and much more than just these little themes, but I just want to bring those up in reference to Aruna's question. So let's see, it is now 9:15, and all right. Okay, so I want to make sure we go through a little process, but there's a couple of you on the call still. I'd love to open it up for any thoughts, questions, reflections. I didn't quite finish the whole process. I mean, at the end of our journey, when we get the questions answered in the healing process, of course I guide you out of it, and we have just a little mini wrap up. But you always want to make sure that your day is dedicated to your healing when you do these sessions. You may have to do things after the session, but you want to make sure you've got some good space and time after your session to integrate and decompress, because a lot of times you're definitely in an elevated state afterwards, and you're going to really want to simmer in that and let the integration happen. So I'd love it if Runa or Paige have any reflections or questions for me. You can unmute yourself and let me know if there's anything else that you have for me. Paige, you're welcome. I'm glad I hope I explained it enough for you. Did I explain it enough? I think I explained it a lot. Yeah, I know a lot of people that registered for this are just curious about it. So yes, good. Well, good. I'm glad. And if you ever have any other questions, let me know. If you want to take advantage of the $50 off a session, reach out, let me know, send me an email. I'm typing my email in the chat. Make sure that I'm typing it in correctly with my glasses. rachel.rbvision@gmail.com. Yep. That's my email. Send me a direct email and let me know you were here and that you'd like to take me up on that. Oh, I sent it to Aruna privately by accident. I have to get used to these chat rules and the Zoom rooms. There you go. Aruna, do you have any questions for me? I don't know if you can hear me or not. Oh, thanks, Paige. You have a beautiful evening too. If you want to stick around, I'll guide you through a little journey. Aruna, can you hear me? If so, just put a little in the chat, or maybe just sort of let us know you're still here. And I'll do a little journey for us at the end, just a little relaxation meditation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start that. If you can still hear me, Aruna, we're going to start the meditation relaxation. And Paige, get comfy, okay? I'm so glad to have you all here with me tonight for this BQH info session. So we'll go ahead and go into just a nice little experience for you. So get comfortable and close your eyes and get as relaxed as you can possibly be. I'm going to move my microphone here so it's a little different, so I don't have to project as much. I'll be a little quieter. All right. So just taking a nice slow breath in through your nose and releasing out your mouth. And just do that 2 more times. In through your nose. And out your mouth. Feeling your body relax. Feeling your breath moving in and out. Listening to the sound of your breath. Feeling the rise and fall of your chest and belly. And sighing to relax even more. And I just want you to sense that you are held in the earth. And that the earth is cradling you in her energy. And that with every breath you take, the earth energy, the loving energy of our beautiful planet is coming into your body. And I invite you to place one hand on your heart and feel the connection, the warmth of your hand on your heart. As you breathe in and out, envisioning the breath, feeling the breath, the air, imagine it flowing in and out through your heart. Connecting your breath with your heart, your mind with your heart, and with your breath. And as you go deeper and deeper into your heart, you begin to remember that all of the wisdom you seek is here in your heart. Your consciousness expands, and you begin to perceive the energy all around your body, interacting with the energy of your heart. And I want you to imagine also now that you have many, many, many guides all around your body, encircling you, all of your protectors and your angels and the beings of love and light are surrounding you in a beautiful circle and field of protection and love. And they're bringing in the light from above, from the stars and the heavens and the universes beyond and the cosmos and the center of the galaxy, and they're bringing in the light through the star Sirius and all of the beautiful golden rays and silver and platinum and whatever colors you see are swirling down into the circle, and they're drawing this light in through their hearts and their eyes and their hands and their being and their lovingness, and their energy is flowing through into your heart. And you're receiving a powerful download of love and light right now from your guides, from the universe, from Source, and from love itself into your heart, into your body, into your mind. And with every breath, you welcome this loving energy down into your body, into your soul, into your feet and hands and head and nervous system. And it flows through your heart as your breath moves through your body. And you begin to awaken to remembering to the truth that you are an infinite being having a human experience, and that you are full of life, and that you are interconnected with all of life through the web of light that connects all of life, that connects in with the source of love and light in the universe and life in all of the universes, that flows through all times and all existences. And see if you can just lean back and imagine that you can hear or see or perceive or feel the essence of information and truth and wisdom that is here with you. And any questions or any guidance or any healing you seek right now, just allow yourself to receive some energy and information in an energetic way that speaks directly to your needs at this time, that brings in just a lovely, peaceful energy that will assist you in your dream time tonight to receive a beautiful message just for you. Beautiful message just for you. Just breathe and allow this energy to move through your being and all of your guides to assist you in your process of receiving through the portal of love, a high vibrational energy and a connection with your higher self like never before. Perceiving perhaps a beautiful being of love in front of you, in a light form or an energy form that comes to give you a gift right now in the form of a symbol that you recognize, something that's just for you, and they place it into your mind and your heart, a gift just for you. And you welcome it in. And you say thank you, thank you, thank you. And take a deep, deep breath. And open your eyes and release your breath and let in the light a little bit. And then relax your hand down, relax your hands, relax and stretch and move and breathe. Just feel that that peaceful energy is with you the rest of your day, the rest of your night, and into your sleep time. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. All right, peace and blessings to you all. And you can find me at rachelchase.com, RACHELCHASE.com. You can send me an email through my website. Reach out if you have any questions or interest. I'm here to answer any questions you have. I always love connecting, so reach out. All right, take care. Peace, blessings. Bye-bye.